Hands up if you love being called out or criticized. Of course, none of us love it, and it never feels good. Maybe it's being called out with constructive feedback from your boss, or it's being criticized by something you did or didn't do from your partner. Maybe it's an underhanded dig from a parent. But being criticized, being called out, being given feedback that we don't want often brings up defensiveness. And so today I want to talk about defensiveness and how to stop being defensive, and to help you realize that you actually don't need to defend yourself to anyone. This might sound a little bit complicated right now, but it's going to make a lot more sense by the end of this, because I think so many of us are spending so much of our time feeling and struggling with being defensive, and it often doesn't do anything good for us. It doesn't help the situation, and it's not conducive for healthy relationships. So that's why we are going to talk about this, unpack this today, and then pack it back up with something more helpful. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second to introduce yourself in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The button's about right down there. My name is Kristina. I'm a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of my membership program, The Shift Society. You can get more information about that in the description below. And I help heart-centered go-getter men and women break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And as I was saying, defensiveness is really something that does hold us back in big ways. And now I want you to take a second and I want you to think about the last thing that you got defensive about. Maybe it was something that someone said. Maybe it was a comment that was made. Maybe it was something that you read on social media. And then you got that feeling of kind of that tight feeling in your stomach, or that kind of tense feeling in your chest, maybe that kind of wash of heat over your body. And often why we get defensive is because we are feeling shame. And that's what those feelings are. That's what those sensations in your body are. That is shame. And so we will get more into that in just a second, but thinking about that thing that you got defensive about. Why did you get defensive? What were you defending? And the interesting thing is we often think that we are defensive, that we get defensive because the person who has made the comment or done the thing or said the thing that we are defending ourselves about, we often think it's because they are wildly wrong about us. But the truth is, defensiveness doesn't come from thinking someone is wrong about us. It comes from deep down inside, fearing that they are right, that there is truth in what they are saying. It hits a wound, it hits a sore spot, it hits something in our shadow, the things that we try to pretend aren't there. But there is shame, and there's this shame because it is something that we do struggle with. It is something that we are not feeling good about. It is something that we are not happy about, and we are shaming ourselves for it. And so when someone makes a comment about that, when they call us out on that, it hits that shame trigger. And so then when we are feeling shame, we want to get rid of that feeling of shame as quickly as possible. And the easiest way to do that is to deflect it, to avoid it, to push it away as quickly as possible. And so we get defensive. But the thing is that defensiveness is not helpful. And now I want to give you an example of how defensiveness showed up for me, because it was just a few years ago that I was stuck in a pretty persistent cycle of defensiveness about a specific issue that kept coming up with my parents. And I'm going to talk to you about how I was able to finally take a step back and learn from it and grow from it and move past it. And so this was something that was coming up several times in conversation with my parents. They were making comments about my parenting and my choices of preschool for my son and how much I was working. And every time they would make a comment, I would feel really defensive and I would get really angry. And superficially, on a conscious level, I thought in my mind, it's because they don't understand. They don't understand what's really going on. They're not in our family. They don't know why we're making the decisions that we're making. And so I would try and defend it and try to get them to see things my way, try to get their approval, get their understanding. And I was doing this in a really defensive way. And what I finally realized after taking some time to reflect was that it wasn't that I was worried that they were wrong about me. It's that deep down inside, I was worried that they were right because I was struggling with my own mom guilt about being a goal-oriented, ambitious woman who has a career, who has work that she loves, but who also has a family and children that she loves, and trying to figure that out, which you'd think in the 21st century we would stop having mom guilt. I don't remember the last time someone said to my husband, "Hey, do you think you might be working too much?" But that's a whole other topic for a whole other day, and we're not going to get into that. But it was this mom guilt thing. And so I was defending that because I thought, because deep down inside, I have these goals and I have these ambitions and I have this work that I love and I also love my children, but that there was something wrong with this part, with having this part, and that somehow I was being a bad parent by not giving 100% of everything of me to my kids all the time. And there was this guilt in there, and their comments were hitting in on that. And I kept deflecting it and I kept pushing it away, right? Because that's what shame does. It feels so uncomfortable. Shame feels so awful that the last thing that we want to do is sit down and sit in the shame and explore the shame and understand the shame. We just want to get rid of it as quick as possible. Then finally, I was able to take a second and reflect on my reaction. And I think that our reactions are a huge opportunity for learning and growth. There's so much information in our reactions. Whenever we're reacting to anything, it's so hard to do at first, but learning how to take a step back and get curious. Why am I reacting? Why am I getting so upset about this? Why am I feeling triggered right now? Why am I getting defensive? And so I was eventually able to take a step back and look at my own thoughts and bring those shame thoughts into the light about not being a good enough parent. And so I was able to finally bring them out and look at them and actually sort through them. Instead of just believing that, like, if I have these goals and I also have these goals, I have these career goals and I have these family goals and these family priorities, I have career priorities, family priorities, that somehow I'm doing something wrong. And I had to really look at it and really decide how I was going to define me and my life and my roles and what I was going to let myself feel guilty about and what I wasn't, what I was going to acknowledge as socially prescribed messages that I've been told about what I'm allowed and not allowed to do as a woman, as a mother. And I decided that those rules don't get to decide how I feel. I get to assess my own life. I get to decide and see what I am doing. And also, yeah, I did take that time to reflect and see if there was some areas that I needed to improve on. If I was getting too distracted with my work and not giving enough time to my kids, and just acknowledging that and being able to say, okay, here are some things that I want to change. Here are some priorities that I want to put at the forefront. Here are some things that I want to be intentional about, some rules that I'm going to bring in, some boundaries that I'm going to have for myself so that I can make sure that my work life and my family life, there's more separation there. And so I can be giving a lot to my work and giving a lot to my family and having that separation. So yeah, being able to take a step back. And that's what happens when we are able to recognize the defensiveness, see the defensiveness, and take a step back and use that defensiveness as an opportunity to reflect and learn and grow. Because so often we don't want to deal with it because we think that what the person is saying about us deep down, on the surface, we're like, they are so wrong and I need to prove them right. But deep down, we fear that they are right. And we fear that not only that we're doing something wrong, but somehow we are something wrong, that we are a failure, that we are no good. And so we turn that into shame. So breaking down this defensiveness, the first thing to do so that you can use the defensiveness as an opportunity to learn, but first you have to take shame out of it by asking yourself one simple question. If no matter what, I could love and accept myself, how would I think about this situation? So back to the parenting example. If I could love and accept myself as a human being and also acknowledge that there may have been some things that I haven't been doing as intentionally as I would like to, as a parent, as a woman, maybe there are some things in there, but if I could love myself either way and not tell myself that I'm no good or that I'm a failure and that I'm doing everything wrong, if I'm not going to turn that into shame and turn against myself, if I could love and accept myself no matter what, then what would I think about this? How would I feel about this? So that is going to be the question that's going to allow us to reflect on the defensiveness. Now, there are going to be times when we do that reflection and then we realize that it was false defensiveness. So let's say for this situation that I was talking about with my parents, let's say that when I looked at the defensiveness, I realized it was just because of the socially prescribed messages that I had absorbed about what I'm allowed to be as a woman and as a mother. And if I took an inventory and was like, you know what? I'm actually really proud and really happy of how I'm handling everything. And it's only these socially prescribed messages that are throwing me off here. Okay, now I just need to get rid of those messages. I just need to deal with those ingrained beliefs and allow myself to accept myself as I am and see that I am doing a good job and I'm proud of myself for what I am doing. And then I can return that judgment to the other person. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to leave that judgment with you because I'm actually good with my decision. I'm good with how I'm doing things. I'm good with my motivation or whatever that is in your life. So being able to reflect on it and decide, is this something that I want to change? Is this something that I want to do differently? Or is this just something that I needed to clean up in my own brain and my own thoughts? And now I can give that judgment back to the other person. If you think you haven't done anything wrong, there is nothing to defend. If you think you have done something wrong, there's nothing to defend. There's just responsibility to take, maybe amends to make, learning to do, and moving forward to happen. So the next time you feel defensive, the next time you get that tension in your belly or that tightness in your chest or that hot feeling in your head, that sort of warm wash over your body, and you are ready to fight and defend, to push back, to take a second, to take a breath, and to get curious. What am I defending? Do I need to defend this? If they are right, then I need to do some digging and some learning and some growing. And if they're not right, then I can just leave it or give it back. This was a deeper one today. Let me know in the comment section below what connected with you from this. Also, when it comes to defensiveness, it is because we are having thoughts in our head. We're having thoughts, this person can't say that, they are wrong, how dare they, that's not fair, that's not right? And then we're getting all defensive about it. So because we're having all of these thoughts going through our head about who's who and what's what and how things are supposed to be, learning how to take a step back from our thoughts, learning how to unattach from our thoughts, learning how to observe our thoughts. And that's where it's going to come in, to be able to take a step back and reflect and not get so caught up in what's happening. Get my 10-minute guided mindfulness exercise. The link to that is in the description below. That is free. That's going to really help you start getting on your way. And if you like doing this deeper work, join us in the Shift Society. The link is in the description below, and this is what we do there. We take these concepts, we take this stuff, we do exercises around it, we check in around it in our private community, we ask questions about it, we dig deep into it. We unlearn the things that have been getting in our way, that have been holding us back, that have been creating unnecessary suffering in our lives. We unearth that stuff, we look at it, we deal with it, we unpack it, we sort it out, and then we put back the stuff that is going to be helpful, and we bring in new stuff that is going to be helpful in how we think and feel and show up every single day, so that we can be having the lives that we want to be having and feeling the way that we want to be feeling. That's what we do in the Shift Society. Get on the wait list. You're going to want to be a part of this. Like the video, share it out. If you thought that this whole idea of defensiveness and understanding it in this way was a game changer for you, absolutely. Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you do share it out with someone that you think would find this helpful, let me know so I can thank you, because that means a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, take good care.